Welcome back to another episode of the 4Q podcast. My name is Sheena Shui. I'm the director and therapist at Savasana Collective, Holistic Psychology, Coaching and Social Work. And I'm also the director of Therapist VA, where we do business coaching, websites, and branding for health professionals. Now, before we get into today's episode, apologies for my nasally voice. As a mum who has kids in daycare still, I'm still in that part of my life, sickness is inevitable. Apologies for that. If I stopped recording podcasts every time I was nasally, there would be no podcast. So let's get on with today's episode of what are the unique challenges that female leaders, entrepreneurs, CEOs, content creators face that really affect their anxiety, burnout, and relationships. Now, this cohort is very unique. The business owners of the world, the leaders, the women at the front. You are a unique breed because you have to face so much. So as a therapist who has 2 businesses, 2 kids, I absolutely put the most personal development I've ever gotten has been both from having kids and starting my businesses. And this leads me to my first point of you are at the front when you start a business. It's based around you. It's based around your vision. And you have to show up, which means you have to face all the insecurities that have stopped you from showing up in other ways. For example, some people have insecurities, core wounds, negative thoughts about their appearance. So having to do videos, speak in front of people, get professional photography done when you're feeling insecure in your appearance is absolutely going to bring stuff up. Some people have insecurities about their imposter syndrome around, am I actually good at this? You know, showing up when you sort of are not confident and you're questioning your abilities. It's inevitable. That will happen at some point because, you realize you know a bit, then you realize how much you don't know. Then you realize you know a bit, then you realize how much you don't know. It's a cycle. And I do believe that little bit of hesitance is great because if you're overly confident and cocky, you're going to stop pushing yourself and growing yourself. But I can tell you the only difference between people who make it in business and leadership, the CEOs of the world, and the ones who don't, is that they show up regardless of the imposter syndrome. Everybody gets it, but the ones who succeed are the ones who show up anyway, right? So the insecurities around that. Insecurities around people are going to see me from work. So I remember when I started my business, I hid behind the logo. I didn't want anybody to know it was me. I didn't mention my name. The website really didn't mention me. It took a huge thing to go, you know what? I actually do know what I'm doing and I'm confident in myself. And I know from the clients I work with that I can make a difference. And so that was huge having to do that when I actually played small in a lot of the workplaces that I worked with because I was stroking egos. And unfortunately, when you're working for someone else, sometimes getting ahead means stroking other people's egos, which is horrible. It's so inauthentic. And so a big reason why I got into business myself. So I don't have to worry about doing that. But I think because of that, they didn't know my full abilities. And so I think that there was this thing of, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm not enough or whatever. So insecurities, they are going to come up. So that's a really unique challenge and they come up in different ways at different stages. So if you're not a mum and then you become a mum, you might have some insecurities about, some people think it's not okay for me to be owning my own business and a mum. Some people, there's going to be stuff that comes up at different times. Your appearance changes. Maybe you're aging and you're starting to notice that and you're feeling insecure about that. Maybe you feel strange being on social media in general. It's hard. I get it. But that's a really unique challenge that we work through in our sessions together. Another unique challenge is your relationship stuff is going to come up in your career, in your workplace, and it comes up through clients that you work with as well as staff in your business. So if you're a people pleaser, you're going to have a hard time giving feedback to your staff or pulling them up when they're not pulling their weight, or, stepping into that assertive role. It's also hard if you're quite a social person to separate yourself a little bit. I do find that you absolutely, I don't like a hierarchical workplace. I like workplaces where everybody is respected and is equal. However, when it's your business and your vision, sometimes there has to be a little bit of removal because, you need to be the leader first and not the friend in that setting. It's really tricky, and that's why it's really hard if you bring friends or family into the business. That relationship comes first, which changes the dynamic, which is also why we often say don't bring friends and family into the business, right? Because when you do have to step into that role, they don't see you as that. So, one of the unique challenges is how do I be authentic in myself even though my relationship stuff is coming up? And how do I not be too easygoing or too harsh or, not expressing myself? So all that stuff is a really unique challenge when you're a business owner, a female leader, entrepreneur. You're going to have to face that. And again, that's something that we really work through, of at least understanding what your styles are. And you can really figure that out in the free quiz that we have on the website if you're really curious about that part. All right, the next part is, the next 2 points really are connected, which is that you have a lot to juggle and you're chasing a dream and a vision that others cannot see. So the unique challenge as a leader, an entrepreneur, is that you do feel like you are trying to lift the standard, lift the energy, lift the expectations. So of course, you need to take time, but taking time is hard when you're chasing a dream. It feels like if I pause to take a week off, to re-energize, to go get a massage, to just go walk in nature, to just do nothing. And by do nothing, I mean take care of yourself, which is doing something. Watch movies, read a book. As a leader, it can feel like, how in the world is that chasing my dream? This dream that I've been thinking about for so long. And so it can be really hard to balance the juggle, particularly with my fellow mums, of being there for the kids, being there for your partner, being there for your friends, taking care of your health, all of these things, taking care of you while still chasing this passionate dream that you have and paying the bills and all the things. And so that difficulty in chasing the dream, and other people don't see that vision, right? You're chasing a dream and a vision that other people can't see. So that's a really tricky point. That's a unique point of this, is that sometimes your loved ones aren't going to understand why you're putting so much time, money, effort into it, because even if you explain what you're working towards, they'll never have the vision that you have. You're the person that's going to be the most passionate about what you do at all times and the way that you do it, right? So that can be really hard in explaining to the loved ones around you and being there for them. So it's thinking about what strategies can I do to be there for the ones that I love, because that is the most important thing. Your health and your relationships are vital. I've learned that so many times. The lesson keeps coming up for me because I need to learn it deeper and deeper, that I need to prioritize that. You need to prioritize that to actually have a successful long-term business. You don't want to burn yourself out just when you get all the clients, all the growth coming in, and you just don't have capacity to manage that. The other unique challenge is the ego. The ego is, we all have one. The ego is something that it's actually good for us because it drives us. It wants to push us. But sometimes ego gets in the way because it's concerned with status, and it has a lot of musts and shoulds and that kind of thing. So sometimes your idea of what being a leader, having the status of a leader, CEO, business owner, entrepreneur, what that looks like can actually be really toxic, because and many of you who've followed me for a while in either of my businesses will hear me say, you can't be what you can't see. If you have never been taught that a leader can have balance, that an entrepreneur can take time off, that a business owner or a CEO can be kind and can be liked by her staff or his staff, can be friendly but firm, it can be really hard to, as an ego, sometimes your ego feels like, I need to lead from the front. I need to do this, musts and shoulds. And musts and shoulds are something that we challenge a lot in a very common cognitive behavior therapy way of, we all inherit from society, from our family messaging, from our communities, ideas of what we must and should do. So for example, we must look a certain way. We must dress a certain way. All of these ideas are social constructs of how we should be. And when you internalize that, it plays into your ego. And so when you're not acting that way, or when someone challenges you on those things, it can feel like an attack. It can feel like things are falling apart. So you need to start surrounding yourself with different leaders, different people. Really invest in the time and even through therapy, relearning what kind of leader do I want to be? Really, you can't be what you can't see. So visualize yourself with a team that is friendly and kind but respects you, right? Because I find sometimes either a team respects their boss but is scared and feels like they're not friendly or is not approachable, or the other way, in that the boss is too kind, too forgiving, too over the top, and the staff kind of take advantage of that, and it's not respectful. And clients can be the same way too. Clients can feel they just ghost you because they feel that really big energy, or they just dilly-dally because they know that, oh, okay, it's okay. Don't worry about that cancellation fee. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that, blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, there's part of that. But you need to ask yourself, and we do this work together, of really getting clear in your future vision, in your ideal workplace, in your ideal team. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What kind of team and leader do you want to be, and how can you make that happen? What traits, what activities, what behaviors in yourself do you need to do to get to that space? So I hope that was really helpful for you. Please let me know if you enjoyed this episode and share it amongst your friends, amongst your family. Give us a review. That always helps us. We're in the hustle and grind too. As much as we don't like to be, we like to be in a relaxed, chillpreneur kind of a way. We are in that space as well. So again, just to summarize our key points, the unique challenges that you're facing as a female leader, CEO, business owner, or content creator when it comes to what's going to be affecting your anxiety and stress and relationships is you are at the front. So your insecurities are going to come up, whatever those insecurities are. your relationship stuff that you haven't sorted out plays out in your clients and staff. So your relationship styles, how you interact with others, that's going to play out in your clients and staff. You have the juggle, and only you are in control of your timetable and what that looks like. And that can be hard when the next point of you're chasing a dream and vision that others can't see. So really being clear around what does that look like for you and how can you explain that to others, and recognizing that only you can see your vision, and that's okay, but you need to sort of give yourself some grace in that. Understanding what drives the ego and what musts and shoulds have you inherited that are driving you, and what kind of leader, entrepreneur, content creator do you want to be, by really getting clear on what kind of team environment, culture would you love to have in your business, and what activities, values, traits would you need to activate in yourself, in your business, to make that a reality. Again, thank you for being here. I'm so happy that you've taken the time for yourself today. You're the one doing the work. I'm just here to facilitate that change. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode of the 4Q podcast. Bye for now.